Welcome to Night Shadows. I'm Stuart Best, where the paranormal is normal, where that which you thought you knew, you didn't, and where the future can be known if you know exactly where to look. Well, good evening, everyone. We're having a lot of computer problems. My computer just shut down. We're supposed to have Larry with us, and here he comes. Okay, so I'll get Larry on board. My computer just went blank about 30 to 40 seconds, maybe a minute, before I was supposed to be on air. Hi, Larry, are you there?
Wow. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me, Stuart?
I can hear you. I'm on another computer right now. I don't know what happened. But this is typical glitch. I guess Patty's getting it back for me. Anyway, where do we start with this thing? This surveillance thing. Let's start there. It seems like Trump is being totally vindicated. What do you think? What's the latest on that?
Well, the latest on it, Fox News came out today after Nunes has reported what he found out and said that it's absolutely clear now and should be reported by all media, but of course they're not reporting it, that Trump and his administration and actually his pre-election team were surveilled by the Obama administration. It's just plain as the nose on your face, basically, that it's the Obama administration that did it. Of course, mainstream media's, they're blowing up smoke and screaming, Russia, Russia, Russia. But we know the truth.
Yeah, but why are they hanging on to this Russian thing? Clapper, everybody has said there are absolutely no ties. Wikileaks has more or less said there were no ties to the Russians. Even this latest thing with Nunes, he said the same thing, right? That there were no ties to Russia. So why are they doing this?
Well, that's all they got, Stuart. If you take out the Russians interfering with keeping Hillary from being, Queen Jezebel of America, what do you got? What are they going to use?
Yeah. I mean, this is, it's getting to the point where it's ridiculous. And you got people like Schumer and Pelosi and all of these people. And I did bring up, there's another whistleblower coming out, and I lost it. I had it on that computer that went down. He's trying to come out under the legal method of a whistleblower so that they can't really get him. And he says there are literally hundreds of thousands of material, much like WikiLeaks, that he wants to bring forward from the CIA. And you know as well as I do that the CIA and the NSA have been surveilling the American people for years. In fact, I just read an article where they said that, how do I word this? Your phones, your telephones, your little iPads and iPhones have a back door built into them, and it's been there since 2008, and they are recording everything you do. And then I read another article where they said if you have Microsoft Windows 10, they are recording every keystroke. And that Microsoft is undoubtedly funneling everything you write to the NSA. So we are already under a total surveillance state. So I don't know what else. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to mention you're talking about Windows and Microsoft. The name of that woman in your computer that does all that collection of data is named Cortina. Cortina. You can Google that. That's the system that's inside your computer. And yeah, Stuart, if the CIA and NSA don't have every single radio show we've ever done, it's their fault.
Well, yeah, and I guess my attitude is, if you want to know what I think, you guys in the NSA and the CIA, read your Bibles. Read your Bibles. You're idiots. And you soon all Americans are going to perish because of this kind of stupidity, this kind of division. I mean, you would have thought that they would have figured out by now that their new world order is only going to last for a little bit, and then they're all going to die, and that God has done this before many, many times, where he uses evil people, and the NSA, CIA are evil people, or they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. And I'm not talking about everyone that works for them. I'm talking about the rulers and the leaders that are singled out even in the Bible. And it's just too bad that they're that dumb, because they're the ones who actually are going to have the blood of all the American people on their hands when this thing goes down. I guess enough rant there. What's going on with the North Korean situation? That doesn't sound very good, and the Bible codes relating to it.
No, absolutely not. And Fox News, Lou Dobbs, I watch him. He's on Fox Business News, which is some of the best news you can ever hear. Lou Dobbs on Fox Business. He was on tonight, and they said that it's been reported now that North Korea is prepping within days of another nuclear test and also missile firings, and they're very, very concerned. And of course, you mentioned the Torah codes. You know, we've got codes from Barry Rothman, and now, you know, I forwarded you a new code from Rabbi Glazerson that Tom Horn put out, and these are all warnings of a North Korean U.S. atomic war.
Doesn't it seem odd to you that you would have people like Rips and Glazerson who use one method on Bible codes, and then you have like Barry who probably approaches it from a different perspective, but they're all coming out with the same thing, that North Korea is a real threat and a real warning, and not good.
No, that's very true. Yeah, they do come out with it at a different angle. Listen, let me read this headline real quick here. It's and you've always said the United States really is in somewhere in the Bible, and of course you call it Mystery Babylon. But the Torah Codes warning put out by Tom Horn on Skywatch TV today says Korean nuclear crisis may signal impending war between the legions of angels, and he's talking about angelic warfare, and said that Rabbi Glazerson has a new Torah code now that mentions nuclear war in North Korea, and, get this, and the United States written in Hebrew in the Torah codes, and I'm not good at pronunciation, but the Hebrew word artzat hybrid is the wording in Hebrew for the United States. So you now have the Torah codes validating the United States. It's in the Bible. It's in the Torah.
Wow. Well, I guess, you know, we all knew that, you know, we are headed to a nuclear war. And I don't, excuse me a minute. Okay, yeah, I lost a lot of stuff. We got the computer back, but I lost what I was working on. Anyway, what else do you have? What's going on over there in Israel? That doesn't sound like that's good at all. That sounds like they are preparing for full-scale war.
Yeah, I was watching today. I was looking at some data on that, and they're reporting a number of thousands of reserves called up, reserve mechanized units. That's tanks usually in armor, and they're operating now in formations in the area of southern Israel, which is off of Gaza in that direction, and I suppose Sinai. And at the same time, you know, we've talked about all of the preparations, you know, the missile defense systems and all that have been brought out into the open and activated. And today, Netanyahu actually came out and denied that Russia had told Israel to halt airstrikes against Syria, which to me is an indication that they are preparing possibly for an assault against or a defense front, you know, against Syrian and Hezbollah forces, and expecting something really quick.
Wow. So this sounds like the Armageddon script is really getting ready to ignite, I guess one could call it.
Yeah, and what's more interesting is, Putin has, he's introduced nuclear missiles in his subs in the Mediterranean. He's got ships off Tartus that are nuclear capable. He's also moved nuclear missiles on the land in Syria. So the nukes are there. It's just somebody to pull the trigger.
Wow. So I was reading something about this 3 Days of Darkness. There's a guy that wrote a book, and you've heard of the Roman Catholic prophecy of the 3 days of darkness.
Yes,
I'm sure.
Yes.
Marshall Masters has said that Planet X or whatever, the dwarf star, is pretty close to perihelion, I think they call it, when it gets closest to the sun and it's starting to come around to the other side. And people might want to remember that when the Lord was crucified, there were 3 hours of darkness. Now, a lunar eclipse or solar eclipse can only last about 7-point-something minutes. And then it's done because of the speed of the moon going around. So 3 hours of darkness, they're claiming, is probably, and I think they're probably right, would only be caused by some large space body that came in between the sun and the earth. And the darkness was so great, all the stars came out and everything else, if you read the report. So what I was wondering is, if that occurred on Passover, then, or around that area, they say from 6 to 9 in the watch time. So that was kind of interesting because 69 would parallel the 69th or end of the 69th week of Daniel in the 70 weeks of prophecy that Daniel gave for Israel. So my question would be, is it possible that on a Passover or right around that area that we could have the literal 6 or 3 days of darkness as a giant space body passes around the sun? And that's why I brought up Marshall Masters, because they're tracking this. If it came around and blocked out the sun for 3 whole days as it's heading inbound towards us. Have you heard anything? I know the sun rose in a different area about 3-4 days ago here. It was off a couple, 3 degrees. It was quite a wide.
It's been off the last couple of days here and going down really in an odd area. And there has been some data they haven't talked about much that are pointing towards like September 21, 22, and 23 this year. We don't know, but we could see something any time in that area or time frame.
Yeah, I'm beginning to think that the only thing that's going to wake up the human race from all of this is going to some global or cosmic stuff coming. How do people reach you, Larry? We did a short update, and we're all going to be regurgitating, I guess one could say, all the news we'd covered tonight, but in much more depth. I want to really get into the Bible codes. That sounds kind of scary, actually. How do they reach you?
Yeah, the quickest way is my blog, LarryWTaylor.org. That's LarryWTaylor.org.
Okay, well, I don't know. I think we're getting close to the cusp of something going on. All of this stuff means the rich people got to start to move if they're going to move at all, don't you think?
Well, not only that, Stuart, we've got the military situation going on around the world, and we have a political, I guess you could say, lightning storm developing in Washington, D.C., right here in our own country, and we got to keep an eye on that also.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, everybody, for listening. We'll see you Friday, and we'll really get into some of this stuff. So good night, everyone.